It's June 20th, 2021. I just backed off the dock aboard Tortuga, my 1936 wooden powerboat. I'm just going to go out for a short cruise. Haven't had the boat out for almost a week. So we'll see how it goes today and just see what's out here. Anyway, time to head out. Here is the view ahead as we go out. The marina to port, and this tugboat and barge that's working out at the Cranberry Islands to starboard, and they come in here for the weekend and anchor the boat there, just because it's a little more protected in here. So anyway, we'll head out. I'll take a look at my sailboat sequester as we go, and then we'll just go wherever I feel like it today. Now, right now I'm heading out at idle speed because I want to warm the engine up a little bit before we take it up to cruise speed. So idle is a little under 900 RPMs, and the engine is currently up to about 140 degrees. I'm going to let it get up to 160 or so before I rev it up very much. And when the engine's fully warmed up, she runs between 190 and 195 because of the thermostat. You know, we're using the Raspberry Pi chart plotter here. You can see it there. I hope it's in focus. And you can see the boat right here heading out slowly. And straight ahead here is my Allied 36 sequester. Now, last night over in Bass Harbor, we had a violent thunderstorm come through and had some pretty good winds and really hard rain. And we had hail that was really big, bigger than I've ever seen around here before. And out in the yard, a half hour after the storm passed, I found some 3/4 inch hailstones. So I think we probably had up to around an inch diameter hail. Fortunately, the storm passed just south of here. There's a webcam at the marina that looks out the harbor, and I could see the storm pass, and it completely obscured the Cranberry Islands, which are the islands in the distance here. And but they got very little rain here, just a little bit in the dinghy. So here's sequester. She got a small rinse last night, but not much. She's looking fairly clean right now. And no issues with birds. I put new bird repellents on the spreaders to keep them off, and it seems to be working. So the boat's just about up to the temperature where I can rev the engine a little bit. You see the lobster boat fleet is mostly in the harbor today. It's Sunday, and they generally don't fish on Sunday. So lots of lobster boats here. This is the primary lobster boat anchorage for Southwest Harbor, over here on the northeast part of the harbor, right behind Clark Point, which is the spit of land there, and a few more lobster boats as we look around. During the week, at this time, a little after 1 o'clock, very few of these lobster boats would be here. Well, the engine warmed up a little bit, so I revved this up to 1300 RPMs, and that's got us to just a little bit below 5 knots. At this speed, the boat is burning about 2/10 of a gallon of diesel an hour, so she's averaging around 20 nautical miles per gallon, which is better than my pickup truck does. Of course, I don't drive around at 5 knots in my pickup truck. But, so I'm not using much fuel. I'll probably go out for about an hour, and by the time I get back, I may have burned half a gallon of fuel. So today's outing, at the current diesel prices of $3.10, will cost me a little over $1.50. not counting the incidental expenses of keeping the boat ready to run. So I'm hoping to use the boat quite a bit more this summer, and I think we will head over toward the Cranberries. It's been blowing fairly hard out of the west and now southwest, so it might be a little choppy out in the Great Harbor, but we'll go out and see what it's like. And if I'm getting southerly seas out there, I may not go over to the Cranberries because beam seas tend to make this boat roll a little bit. Okay, I'll pick up when we get someplace a little more interesting than just cruising out of Southwest Harbor through all the Hinckley yachts out here. Well, I've jumped the boat speed up to 1400 RPMs, and currently I'm doing 5.45 knots. So this is going to be a sort of test. I will gradually run it up to around 2000 and just see how my boat speed versus RPMs looks this year. It's always better at the beginning of the season when the bottom is nice and clean. Okay, here's the view to port, over toward Mount Desert Island proper. Some pretty clouds, Bear Island Lighthouse in the distance, and Greening Island here. And ahead we have a few sailboats. I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's the busiest it's been this year. Yeah, I'm going to tweak it up to 1500 RPMs and see how we're doing there. Incidentally, I'm currently standing right over the engine. The engine's below the sole here in the wheelhouse, and I'd say my feet are about 4 inches over the engine top. So you can see what the diesel engine noise is like here aboard Tortuga at 1500 RPMs. I'll let it run here for a minute and then we'll check the speed. Okay, 1500 RPMs under these conditions is giving us 5.9 knots. Well, here's a few sailboats out. It's quite pretty today. Actually, it's a beautiful day out on the water, and it's, even though it was a little hot in the low 70s back on land, it's a nice comfortable 65 or so out here. Like we got a wake right here. It's a long period at this point. I don't know where it came from, but it shouldn't be a big deal. About a 2-foot wake. It's like about 8 or 10 waves. And we're running here at 1700 RPMs, which once we recover from going through the wake should have us at a bit over 6 knots. RPMs is about 6.3 knots under these conditions. Well, I've tweaked it up to 2000 RPMs now, as you can see there, and I'll let it run for a little bit and we'll see how we're doing speed-wise at 2000 RPMs. It's usually close to, maybe a little less than 7 knots. Now we're taking some beam seas here, not big, just a foot or so, and they are rolling the boat just a little bit, but those will go away when we get out here behind Great Cranberry Island, or in the lee of Great Cranberry Island, which is straight ahead. this speed, the boat burns a little bit over half a gallon an hour, maybe 6/10 of a gallon. But if I push the RPMs up anymore, it starts going up very quickly. And a wide open throttle, which is 3,200 RPMs, the engine is going to burn about 2.3 gallons per hour, and I'll only be going about 9 knots. So I seldom push the boat up to a higher speed than this. I only really run at this speed when I'm trying to go someplace that's a several-hour run away. Well, I'm just coming into Great Cranberry Harbor. You can see the various boats moored here, and we'll take a look and see if the town guest moorings are in yet. Doesn't look like they are. Normally there are about 3 town guest moorings where if you want to come over here, you can just come over and pick up one of the moorings and take your dinghy ashore and explore Great Cranberry Island. There's some nice trails, and this island is not as buggy as Little Cranberry, which is known for mosquitoes. Right over there is the town dock. You can also tie up on the town dock for up to 2 hours and go ashore from there, but you got to make sure you leave the end of the dock, end float pretty much open, because the ferries that come over here with passengers tie up there, and they don't appreciate it if you take their spot. Here we go. Surprising amount of lobster gear here in Great Cranberry Harbor today. That's a little unusual. Now we'll go out and look and see if any of the town guest moorings are in. They're usually right straight out here. If that float over there isn't on one of them. We'll run over there and take a look at it in a minute. Ah. Here's one right behind this gray powerboat. That's a town guest mooring. So you can come over here and snag that mooring if you want to go ashore on the island, or if you want to spend the night. The downside of using a town guest mooring, though, to spend the night is that it's pretty rolly out here, because every boat that goes by between the Cranberries and Mount Desert Island is going to leave a wake and roll you. So it can make for an uncomfortable night out here. I think this float over here may also be on a town guest mooring. Find out in just a minute. Couldn't hear me talking. I think this float might be on a town guest mooring, so I'm going to cruise by it and take a look, and then we'll head over to Islesford or Little Cranberry. Yep, that's a town guest. Now I don't know if the float's going to be on there for the season so that 2 boats could tie up here, or if it's just there temporarily. Hard to say. Anyway, let's head over to Little Cranberry Island, which is just over a mile from here. We're out of Great Cranberry Harbor now, running at about 6 knots over toward Islesford on Little Cranberry Island. And one thing I can say is there's a lot more lobster gear out here than there was a week ago when we brought the sailboat over here. So it's pretty busy for lobster gear. Not horrible, but you definitely have to keep an eye on it, because you do not want to run over lobster gear in a powerboat like this one. Wrapping a trap line around your propeller can ruin your day. Well, we're over here at Little Cranberry Island. You can see the island here as we come in. Now, this is the outer part of the mooring field. This is where the town guest moorings are. I'm going to go and see if we can find a couple. In there, on shore, there's a town dock. You can, in theory, tie up there for a little while, but the ferries use it, so you got to be very careful about exactly where you tie up. And the left-hand dock is Islesford Dock, and if you're going to go and do something at the dock, they have room for about 4 boats on their floats, so you can tie up there. And usually when we come over here, so my wife can go to the pottery shop on Islesford Dock, that's where we tie up. Okay, we'll take a look at the moorings and see if I can find a town guest. They're right up here. These moorings are pretty far out. It's 3/8 of a mile into the town dock, so if you're rowing, you'll get a nice little workout, because definitely on the way back you'll be into the wind. Now this does not appear to be a town guest mooring. Let's see if this next one is. There are usually about 3 or 4 of them out here. Just a question of finding them. It's quite shallow out here. There are places where you can anchor, but right now we're in 16 feet of water, and you can anchor out here, but there is often kelp on the bottom, which makes it hard to get a set. There's a town guest mooring, and we'll run in a little farther and take a look and see if we can find another one. We're looking back over toward Mount Desert Island now from Little Cranberry Harbor. This is a beautiful place to spend the night as we head straight in toward the town dock. I'm going to slow down so that I have a little more time to enjoy the scenery. And there's usually one more town guest mooring in here a little bit, but it can be tricky finding it. They say town guest on them. They are free, so if you want to come over here and pick one up, they're first come, first served. You cannot reserve them, and that'll give you the opportunity to come over and visit Little Cranberry by boat. Now, that is not a town guest. So far I've only found 2. There's one other guest mooring in here that can be a little tricky to find. It's called the Kitsy Memorial Guest Mooring, and it too is a free mooring for visitors. See if it's over this way. I don't think it may not be in this year. We'll find out. It's right in this area. See, the boats are pretty close together. If you go in farther, they're really pretty tight. I do not see the Kitsy. So I think that either they've stopped putting it in, or they just haven't rigged it for this year. Okay, this sailboat here, the Chinook out of Bar Harbor, is on the third town guest mooring. So beautiful place to spend the night. Fantastic view of Mount Desert Island. And it's usually pretty calm out here. You walk across to the unobstructed view there. Okay, at this point, I'm going to head back to Southwest Harbor, which is about 3.5 miles from here. So we'll tweak the speed back up to about 6 knots and make about a 35-minute to 40-minute run back to Southwest Harbor. Okay, hope you enjoyed coming along today and seeing the Cranberry Island harbors from my 1936 wooden powerboat Tortuga. And if you did, please give me a thumbs up. And if you are interested in seeing more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click that notification bell. Thanks for watching.